3 days ago, I took the morning after pill, the neighbor uncle who loved me for 10 years. Because of that one night, I got pregnant. His beloved Annie was heartbroken and attempted suicide. Uncle personally ended my pregnancy and threw me out of the house. From then on, I became the sinner. To atone for my sins, I volunteered as a Doctors Without Borders physician and died in Congo. In my final moments, my mind was filled with memories of him. Now that this troublemaker, me, is dead, he should be happy. When I arrived in the underworld, Mabel said I was too full of regret to enter the cycle of rebirth. She gave me 3 days to resolve my attachment. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day it all happened. This time, I didn't hesitate to swallow the morning after pill. After I took it, Uncle woke up. His eyes were sharp, his expression icy cold. "Sophia, you're disgusting. Do you have no shame? You're so young, doing something like this, you're disgracing your parents." Even though I'd already heard these words once before, hearing them again still made my heart ache as if gripped by invisible hands. I didn't try to explain, just nodded calmly. "I'm sorry, Uncle. I was wrong." The corners of his lips curved into a sneer. "If you really knew you were wrong, you wouldn't have done something so disgraceful." I held back the sourness in my chest. "I'll stay away from you from now on." Knowing the fatal ending, I no longer begged for his love. Uncle's gaze remained full of scorn. "Sophia, it's a shame you didn't go into acting." I stayed silent, lowering my head to hide my already reddened eyes. Then his eyes landed on the discarded pill packet beneath the bed. He strode over and picked it up. Seeing clearly that it was a morning after pill, a flicker of surprise flashed through his eyes but vanished quickly. "You took a morning after pill?" I let out a mocking laugh. "What, did you expect me to get pregnant after one night with you?" Uncle crushed the box in his hand, the sound loud and violent as he tossed it into the trash. "If you ever did get pregnant, I'd end that child's life with my own hands." And in the last life, he did exactly that. The thought of the child made my heart throb with pain. So this time, I cut all ties with my own hands. "Sophia, at least you had the sense to take the pill." Uncle had always been cruel to me. Outside the door came a soft female voice, his beloved Annie. "Victor, are you in there? We need to head to the hospital." At her voice, the coldness in Uncle's eyes melted instantly into warmth. "Just a moment, I'm getting dressed." He always saved his gentleness for Annie. The moment I was mentioned, his voice chilled again. "She can go do whatever she wants. Probably off fooling around somewhere." Annie gently tried to reason with him. "Sophia's still young. It's normal for her to be a little rebellious. Don't be too hard on her." Then she turned the doorknob. "Victor, I'm coming in." Uncle finished dressing and stood at the door to block her view. Before leaving, he shot me one final warning glare. I smiled bitterly, covering the stab of pain in my heart. Then returned to my room. I had 3 days. I wanted to say goodbye to everything. I threw all the gifts Uncle had given me over the years into a fire. The flames roared, reducing everything to ash. Then I heard a man's angry voice behind me. "What are you doing? Are you burning something?" He stepped forward, recognizing the items, his face changed. He kicked over the brazier and reached into the heat with trembling hands. "Why did you burn everything?" The warm firelight flickered on my frozen face. "Because it was all moldy." Still angry, he snapped, "Even if they were moldy, you didn't have to burn them all. They were memories." Before he could finish, Annie called again. As always, she was his priority. That night, I returned to the old mansion. Victor's grandfather and my grandfather were wartime comrades. After my parents died, he took me into the Victor family. "Sophia, you're here. Did Victor bully you again? Grandpa will teach him a lesson." His kindness overwhelmed me with bitterness. "Uncle's good to me, Grandpa. I just want to move out of the Victor household. He didn't understand. Why? If you're not happy, tell Grandpa. I couldn't hide the tremble in my voice, nor the sorrow in my heart. No reason. I just think I'm grown up now. I want to go make it on my own. Grandpa could see something was off. He was furious. Call Victor. Tell him to come back. I beg you, don't call Uncle. Don't pressure him anymore. I don't like him anymore, Grandpa. I just want to move out. Please? He sighed heavily. You're both grown. I'm old now, I can't control you. Sophia, I'll always be your grandpa. If you're ever wronged, come home. Grandpa will protect you. Through my tears, I smiled. Okay. Just as I stepped out of the Victor household gates, Uncle came storming toward me, furious. He grabbed my wrist hard. You've got guts, Sophia. You burned all those things in the afternoon, and now you run off to tell Grandpa just to get closer to me? You know Grandpa always loved you the most. Now you're using him to force me into marrying you. Are you happy now? My wrist ached from how hard Uncle was gripping it, and tears sprang to my eyes. I didn't say anything, I choked out. Uncle scoffed coldly. If you didn't, how would Grandpa know? I struggled to break free, trying to explain through my tears. I don't know either. Don't you understand, Uncle? In the middle of our argument, his phone rang. An urgent voice came through. Victor. Annie found out about you and Sophia, she slit her wrists. Uncle's face twisted in disgust as he looked at me. A crushing wave of grievance exploded in my chest. He replied in a panic, okay, I'm coming right away. Wait for me. Then turned and snarled at me, Sophia, look what you've done. If anything happens to Annie, I swear I won't forgive you. He rushed out, leaving me in a silent room, tears already flooding my face. Uncle didn't come home that night. In the early hours of morning, Annie updated her social media, so you really do love me, Victor. Thank you for the ring, I love it. New status unlocked, fiancé. The word fiancé stabbed my eyes like shards of glass. Even though I knew the end was coming, my heart still throbbed unbearably. I could barely breathe. I silently gave her post a like, then did nothing else. In the past, I would have stormed in like a furious shrew, demanding answers. But now, it all just seemed pointless. The next day was Annie's birthday. When I stepped outside, I saw the villa surrounded by white roses, Annie's favorite. Whispers floated from the crowd, she's so lucky. CEO Victor is going to propose to Annie. Just like in a novel, you saved my life, now I'll spend the rest of it repaying you. That has to be Victor and Annie's story, right? Every word sliced into my heart. But I was the one who saved Uncle. When I told him, he accused me of jealousy. I couldn't take it anymore and turned to leave, only for Annie, in her custom wedding dress, to call after me. Sophia, where are you going? All eyes fell on me. Uncle, dressed in a matching suit, stood by her side, like the perfect couple. Someone nearby sneered, that's Sophia, the granddaughter of Grandpa Victor's old war buddy. She lives with the Victor family. I've heard of her. Orphaned young, they say her mom was a mistress. So she's the product of an affair? No wonder her parents died. Serves her right. I had only ever told Uncle about my past. I trusted him. And he turned around and told everyone. I wiped away my tears and walked away. Moments later, Uncle chased after me. Can't you behave? It's Annie's birthday today. I shouted back, I can't. Uncle. I told you about my family in confidence. And you told them? Guilt flickered in his eyes but vanished quickly. I didn't tell anyone else. I don't know how they found out. But you still shouldn't have stormed off like that. It's Annie's birthday. He'd forgotten. Yesterday was my birthday too. I bit back the pain in my chest and took a deep breath. I didn't want to be here in the first place. Can't you understand that? Uncle sneered. Of course. I know exactly what you're trying to do, ruin everything again. She almost killed herself because of you. All she wanted was for you to attend her party. Sophia. Can't you be a little empathetic? My voice was hoarse as I fought back. Uncle. How can you accuse me without asking why? Am I really the one lacking empathy? Or are you just seeing me through colored lenses? His lips curled into a mocking smile. Seeing you through colored lenses? Everything you've done. You think I misunderstood? I was so tired. I had never felt so exhausted in my life. Annie approached with a slice of cake. Sophia. Have some cake? The moment I saw the cake, I felt a wave of nausea. Annie looked startled. What's wrong? Uncle's voice was full of disdain. Sophia. Do you even have any manners? She's being kind. Human food just doesn't suit me anymore, I murmured. My body wasn't made for this world anymore. Uncle grew furious, slamming the cake onto the ground. What a buzzkill. The crowd scattered. I couldn't stop coughing. Blood trickled from the corner of my mouth. I had 3 days to return to this world. That meant only 1 day remained. I rushed to Victor Grandpa's house for a final goodbye. Grandpa. He beamed when he saw me. Sophia. You're here. Grandpa. I'm leaving in a few days. Somewhere far away. His smile faded. Will you come back? I hugged him tightly. I will. Wherever you are is home. He patted my hand. Good. As long as you come back. I said my goodbye and went to pack my things. But the door slammed open with a violent kick. Sophia. What the hell are you trying to do? I was stunned. Uncle, what are you talking about? I don't understand. He sneered and dragged me out forcefully. The commotion startled James, the butler. He stepped forward to intervene. Mr. Victor, where are you taking Miss Sophia? Uncle barked, move. James, seeing how furious Uncle was, quietly stepped aside. I was shoved into the car. I pounded on the glass, panicked. Uncle. Where are you taking me? Uncle pinned down my trembling thigh without saying a word. Even when we arrived at the hospital, he still didn't let go of me. Look at what you've done. Everyone in Haichang knows about our scandal now. Annie is being gossiped about behind her back. He frowned, relentlessly scolding me. Now she's in the hospital. Are you satisfied? Annie appeared, looking weak and fragile. She spoke gently, enough. Victor. Sophia's still a child, don't be so harsh. I believe she didn't do it on purpose. I tried to defend myself. It wasn't me, Uncle. His anger only flared hotter. Do you even have half of Annie's grace and understanding? You'll never compare to her. I realized then. Everything had been my own delusion. In Uncle's heart, Annie was the moon in the sky. And I, just the dirt beneath his feet. Moments later, Uncle chased after me. Can't you behave? It's Annie's birthday today. I shouted back, I can't. Uncle. I told you about my family in confidence. And you told them? Guilt flickered in his eyes but vanished quickly. I didn't tell anyone else. I don't know how they found out. But you still shouldn't have stormed off like that. It's Annie's birthday. He'd forgotten. Yesterday was my birthday too. I bit back the pain in my chest and took a deep breath. I didn't want to be here in the first place. Can't you understand that? Uncle sneered. Of course. I know exactly what you're trying to do, ruin everything again. She almost killed herself because of you. All she wanted was for you to attend her party. Sophia. Can't you be a little empathetic? My voice was hoarse as I fought back. Uncle, how can you accuse me without asking why? Am I really the one lacking empathy? Or are you just seeing me through colored lenses? His lips curled into a mocking smile. Seeing you through colored lenses? Everything you've done, you think I misunderstood? I was so tired. I had never felt so exhausted in my life. Annie approached with a slice of cake. Sophia, have some cake? The moment I saw the cake, I felt a wave of nausea. Annie looked startled. What's wrong? Uncle's voice was full of disdain. Sophia, do you even have any manners? She's being kind. Human food just doesn't suit me anymore, I murmured. My body wasn't made for this world anymore. Uncle grew furious, slamming the cake onto the ground. What a buzzkill. The crowd scattered. I couldn't stop coughing. Blood trickled from the corner of my mouth. I had 3 days to return to this world. That meant only 1 day remained. I rushed to Victor Grandpa's house for a final goodbye. Grandpa. He beamed when he saw me. Sophia. You're here. Grandpa. I'm leaving in a few days. Somewhere far away. His smile faded. Will you come back? I hugged him tightly. I will. Wherever you are is home. He patted my hand. Good. As long as you come back. I said my goodbye and went to pack my things. But the door slammed open with a violent kick. Sophia. What the hell are you trying to do? I was stunned. Uncle, what are you talking about? I don't understand. He sneered and dragged me out forcefully. The commotion startled James, the butler. He stepped forward to intervene. Mr. Victor, where are you taking Miss Sophia? Uncle barked, move. James, seeing how furious Uncle was, quietly stepped aside. I was shoved into the car. I pounded on the glass, panicked. Uncle. Where are you taking me? Uncle pinned down my trembling thigh without saying a word. Even when we arrived at the hospital, he still didn't let go of me. Look at what you've done. Everyone in Haicheng knows about our scandal now. Annie is being gossiped about behind her back. He frowned, relentlessly scolding me. Now she's in the hospital. Are you satisfied? Annie appeared, looking weak and fragile. She spoke gently, enough, Victor. Sophia's still a child, don't be so harsh. I believe she didn't do it on purpose. I tried to defend myself. It wasn't me, Uncle. His anger only flared hotter. Do you even have half of Annie's grace and understanding? You'll never compare to her. I realized then everything had been my own delusion. In Uncle's heart, Annie was the moon in the sky. And I, just the dirt beneath his feet. Grandfather's voice turned cold, filled with disappointment. She's gone. What use is an apology now? He wiped away the tears at the corner of his eyes. Poor child. Just then, Annie arrived. When she saw the scene in the basement, she screamed in horror. Ah. What happened? How did this happen? Victor's voice was low and heavy. Sophia is gone. That night, Victor took a bottle of liquor and entered my room alone. But to his shock, all of my things were gone. He shouted out loud in panic, James. Where are Miss Sophia's things? James answered truthfully, Miss had everything sent away a few days ago. Didn't you know? Victor collapsed back into the chair, stunned. He murmured to himself, so she'd already planned to leave. Tears slid silently from the corners of his eyes. His phone rang. A man's cheerful voice came through the line, Victor. Congratulations on your engagement. Victor replied with a cold, forced thanks and hung up. He remembered the engagement, he still needed to comfort Annie. But before he could leave, Annie's voice echoed outside the door, no longer sweet or gentle, but venomous and arrogant. "Dad, don't worry. That little bitch Sophia is dead. She can't say anything now. With her out of the way, Victor will only trust me more." Annie's voice continued to echo in the empty hall, full of smugness. "You don't know, Dad. Victor slept with that girl himself, nearly made me lose my mind. Thank goodness you told me to stay calm. Otherwise, I'd have gone and confronted him on the spot. That would have ruined my image in front of Victor." Behind the door, Victor froze as if struck by lightning. His heart clenched painfully, his face drained of all color. Only then did he finally realize he had misunderstood Sophia. Sophia had been innocent all along. It was he who was shameless. In that moment, an avalanche of emotions crashed down on him: regret, grief, self-loathing. I watched him quietly from above. Calmly. Detached. Then his phone rang again. James's voice came through. "Mr. Victor, we got the results back." Annie's voice had vanished. Victor tried to steady his voice. "What results?" James hesitated, then said in a trembling voice, "The report says Miss Sophia passed away 3 days ago." Even James couldn't believe it himself, but the monitoring report laid it out in black and white. Victor stood frozen by the news. "What do you mean, she died 3 days ago?" His mind went blank. Tears streamed down his face like rain. Suddenly, he remembered Sophia hadn't been to the dinner table in days. No one could go 3 days without food. And during Annie's birthday party, Sophia's behavior. He realized now, Sophia must have been dead even then. I stared at Victor's shattered, hollow figure. I understood. He was in pain over my death. But what good was pain after the fact? Victor hung up the call and left the house, heading to Grandpa's place. I followed him quietly, drifting by his side. Grandpa was sitting on the sofa, carefully wiping dust off my photo. When Victor approached, his spirit seemed weaker, his face sullen. "You're here. What is it?" Victor sat beside him and, after a moment, spoke. "The report says Sophia died 3 days ago." I couldn't believe it. "I had to ask you." A flicker of shock passed through Grandpa's eyes, then quickly disappeared. "I knew. But she's gone now. It doesn't matter when exactly she died." Victor stared at him in disbelief. "You don't seem surprised at all." "When I was little, Grandpa always knew what I was thinking. Before he passed, he'd often bring me to the Victor family estate. He liked me a lot, always joked he'd raise me for a while himself. Every time we played hide and seek, he'd find me instantly. He said he didn't even need to try, he just knew where I'd be hiding. He even knew about my feelings for Victor and tried to help me. But now, I finally understood, love could never be forced. No matter how much you wanted it, a heart that didn't belong to you, never would." Grandpa wiped his eyes, gently put down my photo, and said, "It's not that I wasn't surprised. It's just that she told me days ago she was going somewhere." He let out a long sigh. "I thought the girl was just trying to clear her mind because of what happened with you. I didn't ask too many questions." After a pause, Grandpa Victor continued, "Actually, 3 days ago, the day you two had that incident, she came to see me." Victor's voice was hoarse. "What did she say to you?" Grandpa picked up his teacup from the coffee table and took a slow sip. Then, unhurriedly, he said, "She told me she didn't love you anymore. Sophia said she knew you'd never truly love her back, so she decided to let go. She said she'd grown up and wanted to move out of the Victor family estate." Victor's face was full of shock. "So, Sophia didn't come to talk to you about what happened between us?" Grandpa shook his head firmly. "No. She didn't. Everything about what happened between you and her," he paused, "I heard it from someone around Annie." Victor was struck again. So once more, he had misunderstood Sophia. How many times had he wronged her? Grandpa stood up and picked up my photo. I'm tired. I'm going to bed now. You take care of Sophia's funeral. I've already failed her and her grandfather. I can only apologize when I meet them in the afterlife. He leaned on his cane, hunched over. His steps were slow, slower than usual. An overwhelming sadness swallowed me. Grandpa Victor was really old now. He had raised me for over 10 years with all his care and love. But in the end, all he could do was watch me go, white hair sending off black hair. I couldn't help but try to hug him. But I passed right through his body. Helplessly, I stood there, watching him slowly walk away. That night, I drifted back with Victor. He went to the wine cabinet and pulled out a few bottles of red wine. For as long as I could remember, Victor rarely drank. Only when he was deeply troubled or in pain. Half a bottle in, he passed out drunk. Mumbling in his sleep, "Sophia, I'm sorry. Uncle is sorry. Come see me in a dream, okay?" I hovered above him, unmoved by his regret. James heard the noise and rushed in, carefully removing the remaining bottles. The next morning, Victor decided to head to the crematorium. But as he came downstairs, he saw Annie sitting on the sofa. She jumped up and hurried over to him. Without hesitation, she clung to his arm, smiling sweetly. Victor's face turned cold. He pushed her hand away. Annie pouted, feigning innocence. "Victor, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong?" Victor's expression stayed icy. His tone was sharp. "I don't have time for this today. I'm leaving." Annie was stunned and quickly tried to stop him. "Victor, I wanted to talk about our wedding. We're already engaged, so why not move the wedding up? I talked to my parents. They're fine with it. What about you?" Victor sneered and shook off her hand. "Annie, how did I never realize how heartless you are? Sophia just passed, and you're already rushing to marry me? Do you even have a conscience?" It was the first time Victor had spoken so harshly to Annie. Her smile froze on her face, awkward and ugly. But soon, she adjusted herself, trying to soften her voice again. "Victor, you're misunderstanding me. I'm heartbroken about Sophia too, but we're the ones still alive. We have to keep living, right?" Victor stared at her, then chuckled coldly. Now, he finally saw everything clearly. Annie noticed the change in him and tried to sweet-talk him again. "Victor, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought up the wedding now." But Victor's brows furrowed. His tone turned impatient. "I don't want to marry you. The engagement is off. Do you understand?" Annie looked as though she had been struck by lightning. Her voice trembled. "Victor, what did you say? You're calling off the engagement?" Victor looked at her with nothing but disgust. "Annie, aren't you tired of acting? It was me who initiated what happened with Sophia, and you kept it from me. You pretended to kill yourself for pity. You framed Sophia so I'd hate her. You spread rumors. Annie, you're vicious beyond belief." Annie's face turned deathly pale. "Victor, no, it's not like that. Let me explain." Tears welled in her eyes and quickly spilled over, one after another. "Please don't call off the engagement. I did all this because I love you too much." Victor laughed bitterly. "Love me? That's your excuse for everything? I'm not a fool, Annie. All this time, you've had me dancing in the palm of your hand. You must be proud, huh?" Annie sobbed, trying to justify herself. "No, I really love you, please, just believe me." Victor didn't hesitate. "No. Get out of my way." He pushed past her and left. Annie fell to the floor. She sat there for a few seconds, dazed. Then burst into uncontrollable sobs. "Victor. Come back. Don't leave me alone. Come back, please." Victor left without looking back. I followed him in silence. I glanced back at Annie. Oddly enough, I felt completely calm. At the crematorium, Victor didn't say a single word throughout the entire process. When the ceremony was over, he carried my urn alone into the mourning hall. I hadn't had many friends while I was alive. He buried my ashes in a cemetery he had chosen himself, placing my favorite jasmine flowers on the grave. Squatting before my tombstone, he murmured to himself, "Sophia, you're really cruel, aren't you? You haven't come to me in a single dream. I guess you must hate me. There's no way you'd want to see me again." That night, after returning home, Annie's entire family had come. They had worked so hard to climb their way into the Victor family. They weren't going to give up easily. Richard smiled obsequiously. "Victor, you're back. You must be tired." Victor ignored him, sitting in silence on the sofa. Richard pretended to be sad. "Sophia was such a good girl. We're heartbroken too, really." He dabbed his eyes, acting as if he were grief-stricken. Annie put on a sweet smile. "Victor, are you still mad at me?" Victor didn't have the patience for their games. "If you're here for something, just say it. Don't beat around the bush." Richard cleared his throat, face suddenly serious. "Victor, you said you want to call off the engagement, but our family disagrees. Can't we talk this through?" Victor didn't hesitate. "No. Don't you think this is ridiculous?" Richard slammed the coffee table in anger. "What's that supposed to mean, Victor? Do you think the Mabel family has no dignity? Don't push us too far." Victor sneered. "Push you too far? Wasn't it you who deceived me all along? This whole drama, written, directed, and acted by your family." Annie quickly cut in, trying to ease the tension. "Dad, stop talking like that. Victor, I know what we did was wrong. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me." Victor's face was cold. "I don't need your apology. And I never want to see you again." He had had enough. "You disgust me. Please leave." Richard's temper flared again. "Victor. You've got guts. Annie, let's go. Don't regret this. There's no medicine for remorse in this world." But Annie didn't want to go. Tears welled in her eyes. "Dad, I'm not leaving. I want to be with Victor. Please don't make me leave. Please, let us be together." Richard angrily yanked her hand away and shouted, "Annie. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough already?" I watched it all unfold from above, amused. Richard's voice grew colder. "If you don't leave now, you're no daughter of mine." Still, Annie refused to budge. Richard couldn't do anything more, he left first. Later that night, Annie knelt in the courtyard, shouting, "Victor. I know I've committed unforgivable sins, but I love you." Victor stormed outside, his anger boiling over. He grabbed her slender neck with one hand. Annie gasped for air, her hands flailing helplessly, her face slowly turning blue. Just as she was about to pass out, Victor finally released her. His face was expressionless, voice cold as winter frost. "Annie, I really want to strangle you with my own hands." She collapsed to the ground, gasping for air, unable to utter a single word. Then, the skies poured down. Victor turned and walked back into the house, leaving Annie alone in the storm. I hovered there for a moment. Soon Richard came back and took her away. That same night, the Victor family officially announced the dissolution of the engagement with the Mabel family. Victor also paid Richard a generous sum, which shut him up for good. After Annie regained consciousness, she realized the engagement was broken. Even her usual crying and manipulation couldn't sway her father anymore. That night, she had a mental breakdown. The Mabel family had no choice but to send her to a psychiatric hospital. Publicly, they claimed Annie went abroad to travel, trying to preserve the Mabel family's reputation. After all, Richard couldn't bear the shame of having a daughter who went insane over a broken engagement. He loved Annie, but he loved money and reputation more. After Annie left, Victor's days fell into a routine. Aside from work, he would just sit in my room for hours. People said he was thinking about me. But I didn't care anymore. I neither believed nor disbelieved. I had seen it all. Now, I only wanted to know, when could I reincarnate? That night, Victor got into a car accident. I followed him closely and watched as several black cars rammed into his from all sides. Again and again, until the vehicle was unrecognizable. Then the cars vanished. Victor, bloodied and broken, looked up in surprise. Sophia, you've been with me all along? I missed you so much. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I really, truly am. I felt nothing. That was when the voice of the underworld judge echoed in my ears, "Come home, child. Your attachment has dissolved." I turned and saw Mabel, smiling at me. Congratulations, child. You've let go. You may now reincarnate. I smiled faintly and bowed to her. Thank you, Mabel. At last, I understood what Mabel meant by obsession. It was my love and longing for Uncle Victor. I had clung to him too tightly, so much so that even in the final second before my death, every memory in my mind was about him. My obsession ran too deep. So I couldn't reincarnate. Mabel, sensing Victor had more to say to me, quietly stepped away. I'll give you two some time, she said with a kind smile. Victor quickly spoke up, Sophia, so you really were by my side all along? I nodded honestly. Yes. I never left you. His head dropped, guilt shadowing his face. I'm sorry. I wronged you. I was a fool. Annie tricked me. They all lied to me. As he spoke, his voice cracked with emotion. You were right, Sophia. After that happened, I started seeing you through tainted eyes. I judged you unfairly. I'm sorry for everything. Please forgive me. I looked at him calmly. It's all in the past. Forgiveness doesn't really matter anymore. His eyes turned red, his sorrow deepening. Sophia, I really was wrong. I couldn't see my own heart before, but now I know I truly loved you. Still, I felt nothing inside. Uncle Victor, I don't love you anymore. He stared at me in disbelief, his voice trembling. You don't mean that. I don't believe you. I had once thought letting go of him would be impossible, but somehow, I had. Victor, I said, calling his name for the first time ever, I admit I once loved you deeply. But now, I don't. I've moved on. Is that so wrong? He lifted his head, utterly defeated. No, it's not wrong. I just can't accept it. I finally figured out my own heart, but now I can't do anything about it. After a long silence, I spoke again. I don't regret loving you. But some things, some people, once missed, are missed forever. We were fated to meet, but not to be. Why keep clinging to what was never meant to last? Victor dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face. Sophia, I'm so sorry. Truly. But you're already gone, nothing I do can make up for it. He looked up with pain in his eyes. At least tell me, how did you die? I let out a long sigh. After Annie took her own life, I went to the Congo as a Doctors Without Borders volunteer. I was killed by a stray bullet while saving children. Even after death, my obsession with you was so strong, I continued, that Mabel said even the soup of forgetfulness couldn't erase it. I paused. So she appealed to the higher powers and gave me 3 days to return, in hopes I could let go. Victor's expression grew even more worried. And if you hadn't let go? I don't know, I replied. Maybe I'd have stayed by your side forever. At that moment, Mabel reappeared. Have you two finished talking? I nodded. Yes. Thank you for giving me this time. Victor stood there, unwilling to let me go. Sophia, I took the bowl of forgetfulness soup from Mabel's hands. Goodbye, uncle. Goodbye, a farewell that meant never again. I turned and began walking toward the bridge of rebirth. Behind me, Victor broke down completely. Sophia. If there's another life, would you be with me? But I cut him off, without turning back. No. I wouldn't. I only wish us a clean break and never to meet again. Behind me, Victor cried out, heartbroken, Sophia. Please, just turn around and look at me once. Just once. But I didn't. I walked forward, without a single glance behind. Because people should never repeat the past. They should move forward, bravely. Victor's obsession ran too deep. He couldn't move on, not even in death. Seeing this, Mabel made a rare exception. She allowed him to return to the mortal world to witness Sophia's next life. From the moment she cried out at birth, Victor was there, watching silently. Sophia was the only child of her family, loved and adored by everyone. Her parents spoiled her, her grandparents doted on her. But Sophia had one person she always clashed with: Ethan, the aloof boy next door. He was cold, sharp-eyed, and wore a permanent frown, while Sophia was a ball of sunshine, always smiling. At school, they pretended not to know each other, even though their mothers were lifelong friends who'd secretly joked about becoming in-laws one day. For years, they bickered and teased each other. Until one day, after a major exam in senior year, everything changed. Sophia's grades suddenly plummeted. Her parents were alarmed and soon discovered their daughter was in love. She had grown close to a top student in her class. They weren't officially dating, but the line was paper thin. Watching from the sidelines, Victor was green with envy. But even more painful was the reminder: Sophia had once loved him with the same warmth and intensity. Now that love belonged to someone else. Her parents, panicked, consulted Ethan's family. Together, they planned to intervene and break up the young couple. But before they could do anything, Sophia came home in tears. She had just learned the class genius never liked her. She was just a decoy, a convenient pawn. She sobbed uncontrollably in Ethan's arms. He stood frozen, his cold shell breaking at last. His eyes brimmed with worry and sorrow. "Don't cry," he said gently. "I'll get revenge for you, little one." The next day, the class genius showed up with a bruised face. Someone had clearly taught him a lesson. He apologized profusely to Sophia. She ignored him completely, turned her back, and walked away without a word. From that moment on, something shifted between Sophia and Ethan. The teasing lessened. The silence became charged. And under the excuse of tutoring, Ethan started visiting Sophia regularly. The arguments stopped. The eye contact lingered. They blushed. They smiled. Victor knew they were falling for each other. His heart ached. But there was nothing he could do. Sophia began to notice Ethan was tall, handsome. His voice was deep and pleasant. And he was always there. And for Ethan, it was the first time he could openly approach the girl he'd secretly loved for years. But it was their final school year, so they restrained themselves. They focused on exams, on dreams, on the future. By a stroke of fate, both were accepted into universities in Beijing. Not the same school, but close enough to visit any time. What Sophia didn't know was Ethan had changed his college application last minute, just to stay near her. He couldn't bear the thought of being apart. On the day they received their acceptance letters, the sky was brilliantly clear. That night, Ethan invited Sophia and their friends out. They went to the seaside. Laughing, running, watching the waves roll in. At midnight, Sophia's birthday, the sky exploded in fireworks, all for her. She gasped, hands covering her mouth. Her eyes sparkled with joy. Ethan approached with a bouquet of jasmine. "Sophia, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend?" Sophia answered with a bright smile and tearful eyes, "Yes. I will." Victor watched from afar, heart both aching and warm. He was happy for her. He really was. But it hurt. That night, their parents found out. At first concerned, then relieved. They sat Ethan down and warned him seriously, "You better treat Sophia well. Or you'll answer to all of us." Ethan promised. And he kept that promise. He became a loving, responsible boyfriend, always putting Sophia first. They argued sometimes, but never went to bed angry. They learned. They grew. After graduation, Ethan proposed, even though he didn't have much yet. But Sophia didn't care. The house, the car, they were all hers. All she needed was Ethan. 2 years after the wedding, Sophia gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. Victor felt his time slipping away. He lingered around, reluctant to leave. One day, as the twins were learning to speak, they pointed directly at Victor's spirit. "Mommy, there's a man over there." Sophia looked over her shoulder. "There's no one, sweetheart." Victor smiled at the children and made a hush gesture. They immediately went silent. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew open the window. A voice whispered in Victor's ear, "Your time is up. It's time to return." Just then, Ethan entered the room. He pulled Sophia into a warm embrace, kissed each child on the cheek, and said, "I love you, my wife." Victor turned for one last look. He smiled, bitter but full of peace. He could never be with Sophia. But she had found her joy, her forever. And now, it was time for him to go. He faded with the wind, forever. Sophia's beautiful life was just beginning.